thank you so much for joining us. There was the debate on the budget, which preceded, of course, the question and answer session for the various sector ministers. Quick thoughts on what has happened in Parliament today.
I think when it comes to the budget, a number of people have been hoping to hear from the various MPs because the democracy we practice is such that it is a representative one, and obviously our MPs represent us in Parliament and they convey the various views of the Ghanaian people. And you could see the diverse opinion. Of course, with the NPP, you would not be surprised to hear them have issues with the budget. And with the NDC side in Parliament, trying as much as possible to justify the budget that was presented by the finance minister in the person of Dr. Kissel Atoforsen. Yeah. And a key one I think, was the approval of the
GRA-Tata deal.
Tata deal. And
quite a controversial one,
yes,
actually.
But we have also been told that this is an antecedent from the IMF deal.
Right.
And so it was expected that at least the MPP side who negotiated the deal would give that full support. We are told that it's supposed to help in GRA's revenue mobilization. Remember, you would agree that one of our problems, one of the major problems that has to do with our economy is the revenue mobilization problems. And so if this has been approved, a tax waiver has been given them so that they can operate optimally, eventually to the benefit of the country. And that is the essence for tax waivers, so that we can reduce their own cost of production. And at the end of the day, the rippling effect, Ghanaians will be able to benefit more from it than if we had actually taxed them. And I think one was for the budget debate, that was one of the highlights
for today.
For
the GRA-Tata consultancy deal, quite a controversial one, as I mentioned, because the history behind that will have to do with the oppositions and the rejections that earlier surrounded this, and of course, if you like, the info that or the allegation that GRA was willing a tax mobilization to a foreign company. However, the finance minister, in response to the opposition by the minority to the 20% withholding tax exemption, did mention that indeed the IMF was in agreement. He himself found the data quite positive. The NPP, or the minority that negotiated it in their regime, also found him
but you understand your position, because if you remember, during the dying ends of the NPP administration, there were issues about tax exemptions that
tax
the
waivers,
minority then, that's the NDC minority in Parliament, was vehemently against, and indicated that to go ahead with tax exemptions, there's a need for you to have a certain legal framework to guide the process and to make sure that tax exemptions are not given to cronies, because then that was the allegation. And so if the minority, I mean, during their time, the NDC in opposition opposed the idea of tax exemptions. I mean, it's politics that they're doing in the House as well.
Politics as usual for them.
And so you would expect that they would oppose. But obviously, if the finance minister says, having looked through it, and this is a deal we are made to believe that began from the NPP while in government, and if the finance minister, having reviewed same, is confident that this is good for the people of Ghana, we can only wait and see how it's going to be. Because at the end of the day, as a matter of revenue, remember the dangerous DDEP that we had to go through. It was because of, obviously, the revenue we're generating locally was not enough, and then we're not getting enough from the domestic bonds, and because of our poor ratings out there, we had been shut from the foreign bond market, and so there was a deep hole to be filled, and so we need to bring we had to bring the haircut, which affected a number of people. I mean, even in savings of young people were affected. The old. It affected almost everybody. You remember the pensioners.
Exactly, who actually had to picket at the finance ministry. And all.
And then the MPP themselves, they've actually admitted that the DDEP, to a large extent, is one of the reasons they lost the 2024 general election. So any efforts to increase our revenue, because over the years we've always had a budget deficit, meaning that our expenditure is always more than our revenue. And the sad part is that on the face of the budget, our expenditure is more than the revenue. Right. And then when it comes to implementation, the gap widens more. Indeed. And that's why there was a fiscal bill, which was, let's say, suspended during the COVID period, which was to ensure some legal framework that a government cannot go beyond a 5% budget deficit. And I think these are some of the things that we need to look out for. If you remember the recent report that was released by the NDPC, you look at the number of stalled projects and the increased cost that it brought to wage bill, it all adds to these budget deficits. They might be minute in their own way, but at the end of the day, it adds to the bigger economy and affects the livelihoods of thousands of Ghanaians. Indeed.
So, I mean, some members of parliament today had their say, had the opportunity to run commentary on the budget. Some of the adjectives they use in describing the budget, quite interesting. I think today we had 9 on the minority side and 6 on the majority side. The irony there, because if you look at the numbers in the House, the majority actually has more members than, but I mean, it's their budget.
The concept of parliament is that the minority should have their say.
Majority will have
their way.
Very well. Attorney General appeared before the House to answer some questions posed by members. First question was read on behalf of the minority leader, had to do with bail conditions. What do you make of the response as given by the AG?
I think that the response largely, it's one that I would have expected from the Attorney General, because this is the practice that I have observed as a court correspondent, that per convention and per practice, judges will usually want to give the bail bond close to the sum involved in the case. And so the investigative bodies also tend to learn same. I mean, we talk about Yoko's 60 million, but here's a case that Osei Asibe went to court and he was given 800 million bail because the amount that we are talking about in total is about 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. And so you want to match up the bail bond, and there's been a lot of reforms and judicial pronouncement on the bail process. Initially, if you stand surety for someone and the person absconds, apart from paying the money, you were supposed to also serve some jail term if you are not able to produce the person. Kind courtesy the advocacy by Martin Kpebu. He argued before the Supreme Court that this is a civil matter, and so you cannot jail someone if I stand surety for you and you abscond when I've not done anything in aiding your committing of the crime or in you absconding. Why will I have to face jail term? And so it remains a civil matter that the state will now have to take me through legal processes of retrieving the bail bond. The state, having that on hindsight, will want to have a bail bond that even if you abscond and they're able to take the money from me, it will be close enough to what the matter is about. But the concern generally has been that we run a system where we say you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So you accuse me of stealing 5 million Ghana cedis. The law says I'm presumed guilty.
Innocent.
I'm presumed innocent until proven guilty. Now you take me to court, or you are investigating me and you want to grant me bail. But you say the 5 million Ghana cedis that is involved in the case, we need to give you a bail bond of close to 3 million Ghana cedis. Now, this is the scenario. I'm just young out of school, for instance. I don't have any property. You don't have, and at that point, it's only the prosecution's words that we are hearing. And the likelihood that I have not stolen the 5 million is high, or maybe high. And so when you intend to equate the bail bond to that of to equate the bail bond to that of the sum involved in the money,
case.
In certain instances, you'll be very unfair to the accused persons.
Right.
Because what if these are trumped up charges? What if these are trumped up figures? And you know that you can amend your charge sheet going forward. What if, I'm not saying that that is the practice, but what if to get a high bail bond where I would be in jail for a long time, they just put together certain figures to raise the amount to 10 million Ghana cedis, and I have to be on a bail bond of 8 million Ghana cedis. I don't know anybody who owns a house in Accra. The only person who owns a house is perhaps my father in my village in Badu. If you value that house in Badu, you won't get close to 100,000 cedis. If all my village people in Badu come together, we may not get to 2 million Ghana cedis. It will mean that I would have to be in, and so that is, those are the issues we need to look at. And so I think, yes, the Attorney General would make the arguments as a practice and as a convention. But as a Minister of Justice, I think he needs to take a second look at it, because in some situations and in most situations, it is unfair. Even beyond these political cases, the bail process in itself, when people are given bail, you speak to their relatives, you speak to them, the stress you go through. There are people called bail contractors. So bail is supposed to be free. They give you bail for 100,000. They take a percentage. You are not getting any house, and so you can pay them 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000. Now they take documents. I don't know where they get their documents from. They take those documents to go and execute the bill for you. So in that chain, a certain middleman corruption process has also been created there. So even beyond these political harsh bill conditions, the bill process in itself ought to be tidied up appropriately. And I think that the Attorney General should move away from I need to defend or explain to looking at the process and seeing how we can make sure that justice is even served at that particular point in time when we are presuming that people are innocent and
this is important guilty. Because he wears two hats as the Attorney General, and as the Chief Prosecutor, and as the Minister of Justice.
Because as Minister of Justice, your number one duty is to do justice to the people. Do justice
to the people. Indeed. Thank you so much, Hansen. Hansen Ajiman is my colleague here in the City Newsroom, Channel One Newsroom, bringing us some perspectives to proceedings in Parliament today regarding the budget, 2026 budget, and the ensuing debate by members of Parliament today. Subsequently, ministers of state appeared before the House to answer to questions posed by some MPs. Major highlight was that of the Attorney General, Dominic Akuritinga Ayene, and it mostly had to do with bail conditions and recent bonds set by agencies such as the IOCO, and he defended the allegation or accusation that bail is being weaponized to punish political opponents who served in the previous administration. This has been our coverage of proceedings from Parliament. Stay with us. We'll bring you updates in our major news bulletin, Channel One Newsroom, at 8 p.m. But go online, channelonenewsonline.com. You get all the updates there. Also, visit citynewsroom.com and you get all the updates there as well. I am Nanatufo Boateng. Many thanks for your time. Keep watching Channel One TV.